Coming to you live from the Great White North, it's Rob Has a Podcast. And now, here's the guy who wishes he could do Raul impressions as good as Nikki can, Jordan Parhar. What's going on, everybody? My name's Jordan Parhar. I'm filling in for Rob Sesternino today to talk some Big Brother Canada 4 to recap week number 6 in the BB Can Grand. And with me today is a great guest, one of my very good friends from real life. I can't normally, I have a lot of Big Brother people on, and it's great to talk, but it's very rare that I can actually have a true friend on the podcast. And that's who I have here with me today. It's the great Sarah Miller from Big Brother Canada 2. Sarah, how are you doing?
Doing awesome. Thank you so much, JP.
It's so great to have you here, Sarah. This is your first time on Rob Has a Podcast, right?
I know! It's like, who knew Mumsy would finally get her shot on Rob Has a Podcast? Today is the day. I've written it down. It is like history is made today.
Well, there you go. So, Sarah, lots of pressure for this. You're auditioning for
good.
Rob. I'm sure he's going to go back and listen to this. So, here you go. Step it up. You've got Greg's hat that he gave you. So you got Chessa here.
I do. I'm repping my Reality Rally gear.
Oh, wow. Look
and my kid's actually writing me notes right now. We decided this is how we would chat, and it says, "You are so weird, Mom." So, so clearly not a fan.
So if you're listening to this in the audio version, we are also live on a Google Hangout on YouTube. You can come check out the video version of this as well later to see Sarah's outfit and her daughter, Chessa. Go to robhasawebsite.com/YouTube for that. And we've also got a live feed correspondent with us as well. He's made it to New York and back in one piece. I think his voice is probably in better shape than mine is. It's the incredible Brent Walgamot, ladies and gentlemen. Brent, how you doing? How was New York for you? Did you have fun?
It was good. I got to sleep with you finally. There was that.
There was that.
I can't believe I actually have a voice after my ranting on Periscope last night. But we'll have more of that throughout the broadcast tonight.
All right, good. We need you to have your voice, Brent, because
yes, I'm here.
Because we got a lot to talk about. There's some good stuff going on. All right, just to set things up for you, we are going to be taking your questions live because this is a live edition of RHAP. So if you have something to say, you have something you want to know, make sure you tweet us. You can do so by tweeting using the hashtag RHAP. You can also leave a comment on the YouTube video as well, and we can get your comments that way. Scott St. Pierre is monitoring all of that. And a big thank you to Scott for hanging around with us. And also, we got the chat room going on robhasawebsite.com, so don't forget to leave your comments there. Okay, guys, let's talk about Week 6 of BB Can 4. Raul is evicted last night by a vote of 6-1. Sarah, I mean, you've been the victim of this before, or you've gone through this before, where you've got an ally in the house, they pretty much are responsible for your eviction, and then pretty much right after you go out the door, you leave. That happened on Big Brother Canada 2 with Arlie, and I'm sure Arlie regretted it afterwards. Happened again last season with somebody we know as well. So what are your thoughts on Raul leaving? Were you happy with this result, Sarah?
I mean, to be honest, I'm not really sure what the house guests were thinking. I definitely think the better option was for Kelsey to go. I find Raul really entertaining from an entertainment standpoint, so that was definitely disappointing. I think we're losing some of our most entertaining house guests this year, like week after week after week. So that's disappointing. Chessa's mentioning she was not happy. She's a big Raul fan. And I'm just interested to see how the dynamic changes now with Raul out of the game and Kelsey and Jared still in there. So I'm curious to see how this week plays out for sure.
I don't like him.
Wait, who do you not like, Chessa?
I don't like that Raul did left.
Why did you like Raul so much?
Because he wasn't mean like Kelsey.
There you go. He wasn't a mean girl.
There we go. Continuing the trend of girls not liking Kelsey.
Yeah.
Brent, let's explain this for the audience. What ultimately was the factor in the house deciding to evict Raul rather than Kelsey? Is Jared just that good?
No, and by the way, in comparison to Kelsey, I think is operative here because I think, of the two of them, I can see where some people would say, Raul, why are you evicting Raul when you can get mean girl Kelsey out? But Raul, I think, at the end of the day, was just incredibly hard for the house guests to live with. and that becomes a factor after a while. It seemed like he just really went out of his way to irritate people, and I know that you two can't say this, but I will say this. I think he was a really horrible house guest. He basically gave his finger to the producers and Canada breaking the have-not rules, and he knew exactly what he was doing. It wasn't anything impulsive. He knew exactly what he was doing, and then he took a drink afterwards after he ate the burger. It was just, it was a mess. I think the producers did a good job in basically showing him to be as inept as he was when he was campaigning to the house guests, and it was probably the worst campaign I've ever seen in my life, where he was basically calling people out as floaters. These are the people that you need to get their vote, and you're talking bad about them. And so I think that even the producers had it by the time he was evicted, and I think they were probably pretty glad that he was gone. My take only.
Yeah, Sarah, was this Paul Jackson levels of campaigning by saying to Maddie, I don't need your vote, Maddie. I don't need your vote. I'm talking to these floaters here. Yes, these people I've insulted. I'm talking to them, not you. You have no power.
Yeah, I mean, his campaign strategy was definitely on a Paul Jackson level, I will say that. The only thing that surprised me was that he really was, the part of his strategy that I thought made sense is that he was breaking free from the three. And I think that the fact that Kelsey's a better campaigner and just a better player overall should have been enough for her to go home. Like, keep the Paul Jackson, or keep the Sabrina, or keep the person that doesn't really know what they're doing, that keeps pissing everybody off, because they're still going to be a target. Whereas Kelsey has Jared. Like, those two are just such a tight pair that I just don't think it didn't make sense to not break it up when they had the chance.
But when Raul ate the food, didn't Joel eat food too?
Joel did eat food earlier in the season, but that was
an accident. Though.
Yeah, it was an accident.
It was an accident, and he immediately apologized for it and felt horrible about it. All right, well, I think they showed him afterwards. I think he didn't even realize he did it. Whereas Raul knew he was a have-not, literally grabbed the burger out of Tim's plate and stuffed it in his mouth and made a big show of it.
Yeah, Brent, why? Brent, and can you explain for the people who didn't see this on the feeds, just to quickly explain a little bit more in detail? We did talk about this on Wednesday at the end of my podcast I did with Robin Cass. Check that out if you haven't already. Go to robinswebsite.com/rehappyhour. Why do you think they didn't show this on the show, Brent? Because I feel like that was a big moment on the feeds this week.
I really can't explain it. I will admit here that I have not seen Wednesday's show yet because I was in New York, and then I did my Periscope after the Thursday show last night, and I said, did they address, like maybe it was on Wednesday night's show, and I asked the people on Periscope, did they address the whole burger thing? And they said no, and I couldn't believe it because it was such a huge thing. I really think if there was any chance for Raul to stay this week, it was the door was shut the minute he was banished to the backyard. And the house guests didn't get the backyard for 18 hours. They couldn't go outside and smoke. They couldn't play pool. They couldn't go. I just saw this hot man on the bed over here. I don't know what that is.
That's my husband. Hands off.
Right? And then anyway, so it was a mess. I don't understand. I guess they really wanted to show this meme thing, but I've seen this too on Big Brother US, where the producers have something they want to show. They've planned for it. Then something sort of unexpected happens during the week that they really want to show. But they're like, well, we can't really show that because we have this other thing we want to show. So I think it was just a matter of time.
Yeah, it was. I think for sure. I think it was they had these weird challenges this week, like ooh, here's a task, clean the house, and ooh, look at this, memes. Who can make the best meme that isn't even really that funny? This is great. Like, Sarah, what were you? Did you like either of those segments? Because for me, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm tired and I'm jet lagged and I've been up since 1:30 a.m. this morning. But I don't know. I wasn't really a big fan of those.
I feel like, you are a little bitter because I found the meme one actually really funny. I thought it was hysterical to watch them kind of poking jabs at each other. The cleaning challenge, honestly, like we all know that's just because Big Brother thinks that the house is a pigsty and they just want to force us to clean up. Like, did that actually need to make an actual episode? I'm not sure. But I feel like we're seeing some kind of repetitive stuff on the episodes, to be honest. I've not noticed that in any of the other seasons.
Yeah, it's a little formulaic for sure because it feels like, okay, here's.
And I just find like the truth or dare and the spin the bottle and like, oh my god, like how many times we have to see the awkward kisses and the like. I'm over that. Like, give us some new shit. Give us the burger eating. Like, that was totally, like, that was something worthy of watching.
Right? I feel like that would have been an iconic moment.
Totally.
Raul. I think a lot of people, 4 or 5 years from now would look back at Raul and they would be like, oh, that's the guy who ate the burger when he was on a Have-Not. And he got robbed of that moment. Now, I don't know what they're going to think of when they think of Raul.
That may have been their intention. I really do think they were over Raul because he's not giving them what they wanted. I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I totally disliked Raul as a character. He couldn't really enunciate his gameplay. He was terrible in the diary room. He thinks he's the star of the show, and we're going to forget about him in like 2 weeks. Like,
right.
And even today on his chat with everybody, he wants a reality show. I'm like, good luck with that, girl, because it ain't happening.
Yeah.
I think that may have been intentional. I think that the producers didn't want to give him any more airtime than he already got, and because if you show that moment, you're glorifying him, basically, giving the finger to the producers. And then you have to show the consequences of it, which is him in the backyard, which is more airtime for Raul.
Right.
So,
I can see that perspective. I didn't think of it that way, but yeah.
Yeah, I can get, but there you go, Brent Walcomot. That's why we got Brent.
Yeah, fair enough.
It totally makes sense. Let's get back into the spin the bottle, truth or dare stuff.
I'm over it.
That Sarah is not a fan of.
I love that she's not a fan of it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the spin the bottle thing.
Really?
Yes, because how great was it again? I mean, it's kind of annoying, but it's also kind of hilarious. Every single time, like, okay, I'm sorry, but Kelsey, all she did was a little peck to Nick, which is nothing, and Jared just loses his mind. Like, it's completely insane. Sarah, like, am I wrong in thinking that Jared completely overreacted here?
Oh, no, Jared was, like, way off base. He's definitely very, very immature when it comes to relationships and that kind of thing, for sure. Like, that was ridiculous. And even his explanation to her after didn't even make any sense. Like, you knew I would be jealous. Well, no, the whole point is you shouldn't be jealous, you idiot. But, like, it was a bad moment for Jared, for sure. But then again, a bunch of the little girls that watch Big Brother might be like, oh, Jared, he's so sweet. Like, he's so jealous and loyal. Like, who knows?
Hey, JP, I'm sorry. I just want to call shenanigans on the fact that these people played Spin the Bottle because Big Brother Canada, no, for real, Big Brother Canada 3 played Spin the Bottle, and it was anything could happen. These people play Spin the Bottle, and they're like, well, the boys can't. They don't want to kiss the boys. The boys don't want to kiss the boys, and like the brothers can't kiss the brothers. And it's
agreed.
Like, and it was ridiculous. Like, if you're gonna play Spin the Bottle, you got to play Spin the Bottle. I mean, this was like Spin the Bottle with a bunch of exceptions and asterisks and whatever. I distinctly remember Kevin kissing Zach last year.
Aggressively. Right? Yeah.
Exactly, and they did it, and they did it with some zest, and the fans loved them for it. This season, they totally wussed out. So Big Brother Canada 3, way better than Big Brother Canada 4.
And also I can tell you guys, there was the BBTV night, and that the feeds were down, and we didn't even get that on the entire episode, but we had that sort of thing happen again, where lots of people were kissing. That didn't make the show. And in the jury house last year, also it happened. #breaking. Kevin Martin and I have kissed before because of the jury house. It happened. I mean, if you play Spin the Bottle, I'm sorry, play Spin the Bottle, which is why yes, I was mad. I agree with you, Brent. It's stupid that they're like, well, we're not actually gonna do that if so and so does it or whatever, the brothers, but. Kelsey, you know what? As much as I'm not a fan of her game, at least she did that because it was entertaining. Brent, quickly, how long did this whole debacle last with jealous Jared? Was he fine the next day, or did this go on for an extended period of time?
No, he was pretty much fine the next day, but it definitely went on for longer than it should have that night. It was just to the point where I have to say their makeup was the best part because he was like kind of honest when he said to her like, well, we'll make up again, you'll suck up to me, and we'll be done with it. I'm like, oh, I guess that's how you're making up then. Like, he's actually getting worse with her. He said to her today, shut your effing mouth, you weren't here. And I kind of don't like where their relationship is headed. He's just getting a little bit angry Jared, and I haven't seen angry Jared all that much until the past 7 days or so.
Yeah.
I mean, in all fairness, I do think it would be tough to date Kelsey. She does have an air about her that is just like me, 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 me. So I'm not justifying Jared speaking that way to her at all. But I think you can definitely tell that relationship is wearing on him at this point, let alone just the fact that you're in that house now and what day are we even? I don't even know.
We're 6 weeks in.
Yeah, so I mean, 6 weeks in. 6 weeks in. That's a long time to be in that house, and then on top of it, to be stuck attached to this person who just is like just a draining kind of personality. It's clear that's getting to him at this point.
Yeah, it's hard to have a showmance with anyone, and you can't. The problem with a showmance is that you can't get away. You're stuck. And if you make a showmance, if you, like Jared and Kelsey, they formed this bond week 1. And, you know, they didn't really know each other too well at that point. Yeah. And now they really know each other. And I think they probably, like you're saying, they both know that it's not going to work. But at this point, you know, I don't know what we're calling it now, the second wheel, but they're by themselves. That's all. They got to work together. Yeah. So it's a dicey situation for sure. I wish we had feeds for the Jury House, because I think that would be very, very entertaining this season when those two eventually do get there. We did see Jared be, like you were saying, Brent, we did see angry Jared come out this week. I mean, we saw him telling, he's swearing at Kelsey. He was doing the same thing at Raul when he was campaigning to stay. But despite this, I mean, he still got his way once again this week. I mean, we saw this with, Paige and Dallas and Mitch and now Raul, in which he has really put his neck out to make sure that someone goes home. Sarah, why do you think that Jared keeps getting away with this behavior? Why does it keep working when he's being so, disdainful?
Honestly, I don't know. I guess I'm going to have to just think back to our season, and people must just find him charming. I mean, with John, like, he had a couple pretty gross moments with his bad attitude, but for the most part, he was so fun to be around, and that people were kind of sucked in by the charm. I think same with Zach, right? Like we've said in real life, man, Zach is charming. I get why he got away with everything he gets away with. Because when you're standing in front of him, he has a way of kind of making you feel special, important, whatever it is. And so maybe we're not seeing that from Jared on the episodes, but maybe that's how he is when you're one-on-one with him. He's adorable to look at, and I think, his curly hair, and I think his looks probably help him in that way. I think they're just kind of, he's endearing to them.
Brent, what is Jared's relationship like with the rest of the house? Who is he close to beyond Kelsey at this point?
Well, definitely Cass and Tim, I would say, are probably his two closest people that he's the two people that he's closest to. He has this weird relationship with the brothers where he kind of likes them, but then in the very next breath he wants to get rid of them because I think he's threatened by them and he likes being the alpha dog in the house. The thing that really annoys me about Jared is that he says he doesn't want to be the leader, but he totally acts like it. And he acts like he can control the votes. He acts like he's the head of the alliance. And then he says, what's people's fascination with me? It's just it's such a conundrum. It's such an oxymoron where he's just I don't know if that's the right phrase. I think an oxymoron is like one word. But anyways, it doesn't matter. The point being, it's such a contradiction because he says he doesn't want it, but he clearly wants it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's like the Russell Swan of Big Brother Canada 4, Brent. Okay, so Survivor Philippines reference, deep cut. Okay, speaking. Sorry, Sarah, completely clueless on this one.
Down the rabbit hole, Sarah.
Yeah.
Sarah, we can talk about Rupert and Boston Rob. You'll get those references.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Okay, speaking of Cass, I mean, she really was the star of the show this week, I felt like. I mean, I wasn't able to watch the show live this week because I was at Reality Rally and I was in New York for Survivor Know-It-All, so I had to just binge these all today. And it really seemed like, Cass was getting a ton of screen time, at least compared to previous weeks. I had Robin on my podcast, I mentioned that earlier, Sarah, this week, and when I asked her who her winner pick was at this point, she said Cass. Do you agree with that? Do you think Cass is going to win this game?
I think she's got a good shot. Like, it's clear that I do think, oh God, I hate to say it, but I do think that some of the smarter house guests have left. And so, you know, when you're left with kind of a baseline of what's in there, I think she has a good chance of manipulating the situations. I mean, we saw that with Maddie. You know, the house guests at this point don't have a ton of people they're super close to. So when someone is giving you what you want, they're giving you the attention you want, they're making you feel like you know what you're doing, that's really hard to just kind of step back and think game-wise. So I think she's got a lot of people in there that are very naive, and she's a really good manipulator. I love her DRs. I mean, thank God someone other than Tim is giving us entertaining DRs at this point. Because I just, like, the first few weeks there, I was like, what is happening? Everything seemed rehearsed. Nothing seemed genuine. And so when she goes in there and rolls her eyes and sticks out her tongue and says stupid shit, you believe her. And I think that's why we're also, like, gravitating towards her. Because we're like, okay, you're genuine. We get it. We feel what you're feeling.
Brent, is this accurate that she's getting the mastermind edit on the show now that Mitch is gone?
Oh, wow. I would say that's fair, but she also shares it with Tim. I think Tim also gets a bit of a mastermind edit, too.
For sure, true.
Yeah.
But she's emerged now more
she's
so.
Emerged,
so
exactly.
has that been happening on the feeds as well, from what you see?
Oh, certainly. I mean, like, on the feeds more than anything, I see Cass everywhere. She's just all over the place. I love her. I agree with Sarah about the DRs. Thank God she's bringing it. It's like, it's Brittany BB12 levels of eye-rolling. I love it. You know, when you need someone like that on a season, you need that person to go far. I think, you know, in past seasons we may have lost that person early. So I like the fact that she's bringing her sass along with Cass.
The sass along with Cass. Yeah. Look at that. Brent, a real wordsmith. Okay. Quickly, let's talk about this Maddie and Ramsey showmance as well. Sarah,
I'm sorry, I heard that. That came through the microphone. I heard that. She said, what?
It's so funny because I almost tweeted last night while I was watching, but I just felt like, I don't know, maybe I need to hold back on my mean tweets a little. But honestly, I don't get this coupling, and they're just such an odd pair. Because I feel like for the most part, Ramsey's like a pretty chill, down to earth. Like, I think the saddest part about the Maddie Ramsey is this is when Ramsey should be emerging. He should be having Cass moments right now where he's coming out and he's getting the good DRs, but I think he's really being held back by Maddie, and I don't understand I do understand how different personalities can click and connect in that house. But this one just seems odd to me.
Really? I don't think it seems as odd, only because of this. Ramsey, to me, is such a sweet, charming, like, down-to-earth guy. I really think he just looks past all of Maddie's faults. I really do. You know, there's not a lot to choose from in there. They voted off most of the women. And, you know, I mean, and one of the good-looking women is taken. So it's like, you know, it's Maddie or bust at this point, kind of. I mean, Cass is with Tim. Kelsey's with Jared. Nikki's not having it. So it's like, you know, I mean, what's he going to do? He wants a little lovin'. And not a lot of loving, but a little loving. And I think they're sort of dysfunctional in the way that some couples are. They're even more dysfunctional than Kelsey and Jared. Yeah. Because they're so opposite in the way that they interact with people in the house.
So, Brent, because I don't watch live feeds as much as you do, but what is the deal with Maddie and her boyfriend? And, like, what does Ramsey know about that? Like, what is that whole dynamic?
Yeah, she's let it be known that she has a boyfriend, but I don't think it's not to the level of, oh my God, I have a boyfriend, I can't do this. Like in, you know, Austin from BB16 or BB17 last year when he, you know, for the first, I don't know, 4 days when he said that. Shade. Yeah, right. We remember those days. So yeah, she has a boyfriend, but I'm sure that relationship is pretty. It's pretty like you know, I have a boyfriend, he's down the street, we hook up every now and then kind of thing, he's a cool guy kind of thing. It's not like, oh my God, it's a boyfriend, and he's love it here on after. So
I gotcha.
I don't think anybody's really all that bothered by it. In fact, I really don't hear it come up all that often.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think Maddie, did she not say, was it last week or the week before, Brent, that she was kind of, she had some agreement with her boyfriend, whether she could kind of just go in there to, like, manipulate the guys? Because didn't she say she was manipulating Ramsey, or did I just dream that?
Oh, she may
I feel like her DRs are alluding to the fact that she actually has feelings for him.
Yeah, that may have morphed. I think that maybe at first, I think she definitely did. In fact, she definitely did say she was manipulating Ramsay, or that she can manipulate Ramsay. I don't know if she said she was, but I think her feelings have sort of morphed into I really like this guy. I really see some good in him, and that really attracts me. Because remember, she was on Nick for a while, and then it sort of she slid on over to Ramsay. So I think that's just how she behaves. I've equated her. She is Allison from BB4. She is Erica from BB7 All Stars. She's a bit of a slut. Love you, girl, but you're a bit of a slut. She goes around to different boys. She likes to have her way with them. She doesn't like any of the girls for the most part. I'm stunned at how she's getting along with Cass right now. I mean, I know Cass is just playing her, but I can't believe that Maddie isn't playing her back, because Maddie on the live feeds and in the diary room is saying that she likes Cass. She can work with her. She doesn't have it out for her like she used to. Remember, 2 weeks ago she was saying Cass is grass.
Yeah.
To at least to be able to get along with her.
Hats off to Cass, really, for really turning that around, because it seemed like that relationship was impossible to repair, and here we are. I mean, I don't know, 3 weeks later or whatever, and we still have Cass, we still have Maddie, and we still have Kelsey all in the house. So very entertaining. But yeah, also props to Maddie. You know what? Guys get away with doing that kind of stuff all the time. If Maddie can pull that off, more power to you, Maddie. And it seems like it's helping her in the game. I mean, it's very rare that, like you said, Brent, I mean, Allison and Erica are really the only ones I can think of where somebody is kind of like has a relationship with someone and then they move on to someone else and they make it kind of somewhat deep into the game. And I feel like Maddie is poised to make a bit of a deep run here.
And here's the thing. I'm rooting for Maddie, and I love Cass. I would love to see actually, I don't really want to see that because then it'll be two girls against each other. And I want to see if a girl can beat a boy behaving like Maddie is doing. Because I really like her game for the most part. She is a little bit haphazard. She is a little bit slapdash in how her HOHs go. But I think that she could win the game, especially with the makeup of the jury. Because the jury is basically straight boys and gay boys at this point, so that's what it's probably going to be, because they voted off all the women early. So I think that she could win. I really do.
Yeah, I agree with you, Brent. I mean, which is crazy because I never would have said that. Probably, I mean, I don't even know if I would have said that a week ago. But I think that this is a season where the stats are really going to matter. Maddie has the stats to back it up at the end of the game, at least so far, especially if she can build upon that resume. And like you said, I think the fact that it was just all girls that went out right away, the girls that did not like Maddie, they're not on this jury. They're not going to be the ones voting at the end of this game.
Right.
And I think that's really going to help them out a lot. So it should be interesting. I mean, yeah, Maddie winning BB Can 4. I mean, it can happen.
As long as I can get one of them. If it's either Cass or Maddie at the end, I'll be swell.
Yeah, I'm with that. So Sarah, who is your pick to win then at this point?
I would say I would love to see Cass win. I think I really love Joel. I don't know that he has what it takes to win now that we're at this point in the game. It's sad that I love Tim and Nikki so much, honestly, because I really do want a Canadian to win Big Brother Canada. But I love both of them as characters. I think Nikki just kills me. Oh my God, I love watching her. Like, that was epic. Bringing Nikki on to this season just brought a whole other level of entertainment. But so I would say probably my vote's with Cass or Joel.
Cass or Joel. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea who's going to win. And I'm not going to make a prediction right now because that person's probably just going to end up getting voted out this week with how this season has been going.
So true.
Okay, before we get into your questions, guys, we're going to talk about the HOH last night. Sarah, thoughts on this twist where Canada voted for 2 people to go into the HOH random roulette ball spinning thingy compared to Canada's HOH on your season? Which twist is better, this one or Canada's HOH?
To be honest, I hate Canada coming into it ever. I mean, as somebody whose game started to unravel because of Canada. But I do think that, the problem with this twist is that it gives the house guests information about the outside world. So they now know, or they now think that the favorites at this point are Nikki and the brothers. So I'm just hoping that this doesn't turn around and bite them in the butt, and they think, if Canada has more power throughout the season, we better start getting rid of the people that they like to give us a better shot. So I think it can be a real tricky thing, on Twitter when you see everybody's strategy of who they're voting for, and at the end of the day, even the people, the fans who think that if they were in the House, they could do it so much better, they can't even come up with a proper strategy of who to vote for HOH. So I'm like, okay, guys, you got this under control. No, you don't. So, it's harder than it looks. When you're given the power to actually make choices in the Big Brother house, you realize it really is harder than it looks. And so the people that you vote for, in the end, it could be a detriment to them. But then do you give the power to people that you don't like and risk your favorites going home? It's a tough call.
Yeah, it really is a tough call as a fan, because I almost feel like you want to give it to the people. I mean, it's hard. The sadist in me is like, oh yeah, give it to the person you don't like. Yeah. So then everyone's in the house is gonna be like, oh yeah, we got to get rid of this big person. They're a threat.
Totally.
At the same time, you don't know what that person is going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Brent, it's not too spoilery, so I'll ask you this. What has the reaction been amongst the house guests to this twist? Have they become a little bit more concerned about Phil and Nick as well as Nikki now that they know that they're probably the two most popular house guests in Canada?
I would say that, first of all, Nikki's hilarious because she's been up in the HOH room, I'd say a good majority of the time, supervising some of these talks that have happened between the brothers and other people. She's acting like she was voted the co-HOH or something, which I just love her for.
So funny.
Jared has said that, and this isn't spoilery, but Jared has said, he can't believe this. How did this happen? Those boys have been handed everything. They're being handed more shit on a platter. What the hell? So I don't think that's really helped them. But Jared doesn't really like the brothers anyway. Please ask me, Jordan, what I thought about this whole twist last night.
Okay, here we go. Brent, I've got a question for you.
Yes.
What do you think about this twist last night?
Okay. I'm assuming you haven't seen my Periscope when I went off on this. I know you guys can't say this. I will say this. The producers who put this twist together, you suck. This sucked. This was terrible. This was not good television. This was bad. Okay, here's the thing. If you're going to introduce the element of Canada voting into the mix, then just give us what we want. What all of us wanted, what 90% of people out there wanted that I talked to and on Twitter, was a Nikki head of household. That is what we wanted, okay? So, but no, Big Brother Canada's like, no, we're not going to give you that. Instead, we're going to take the top 2 people, okay? And then we're going to insert them into a random game of chance. First of all, games of chance are not fun television because you have no vested outcome in not only what's happening, but the people who are, tossing the balls down. It's not like Cass or Ramsey or anybody had any say-so in where their ball landed. It wasn't like they were trying to do anything. Second of all, as this twist was happening, you couldn't see shit. You couldn't see where the balls were landing. You didn't have any excitement for, if it happened this way or that way. And then at the end of the day, it felt like one of those things where they were dangling a carrot out in front of us, like it could have been a Nikki HOH. But no, we'll take it away from you and give it to the brothers, who, by the way, are probably the one person, I treat them as a person, the one person who needed HOH this week. So again, if you're going to do a twist like this, go the whole 9 yards. Give us what we want. What we wanted was a Nikki HOH. What the House doesn't realize is that it was probably like Nikki 50%, and everybody else was like, 11%, 10%, 9%. And, of course, the brothers ended up on top that way. I'm sure everyone else in the house thinks it's like, the brothers were on top, and Nikki was like second place because of her fans in Britain or something. So the twist was a complete fail. It gave us a complete fail result. I will say the only saving grace is that the brothers, if anybody in this house is bad at HOH, it's them, and then we can talk about that in the live feed section.
Okay. All right, I will just say before we hop into the live feed section, I was surprised Tim wasn't in the top 2 because I feel like Tim has been, or Cassandra really, both of them been getting so much love. But I guess the PAX Bros supporters really came through this week with knowing that they were in trouble. With that, it is spoiler time. Brent, fill us in.
Yes.
What's going on? Who has been nominated by the PAX Bros?
Nominations are still ongoing, as at least the last time I checked, but it looks like after a whirlwind tour of HOH, it's going to be Maddie and Ramsey. And like 2 hours ago, maybe more, 4 hours ago, it was going to be Jared and Kelsey, and before that it was going to be Maddie and Ramsey. The most hilarious thing I can tell you is that Phil and Nick said, somebody, I think it was Cass, who asked them, well, what do you want? And what they said was to not piss anybody off. And I'm like, somebody on Twitter, her name is Luna, thank you for this, Luna, she said, that ship has sailed because doing the HOH this way, and basically anybody could have been nominated at any point, or anybody, tied to anybody could have been nominated at any point. They just managed to piss everybody off. At one point, they told Jared and Kelsey, you're probably going up. Sorry, but that's the way it's going to be. And now they've sort of untold them. But now that you've told them, Jared and Kelsey, even Kelsey wants them on a platter. Jared and Kelsey have been talking. They say, if it's a triple eviction next week, we're going to put the brothers, Tim, and Joel up for nomination. And that's another thing that's happened. The main cause of this dysfunction, at least at the end, was Tim. And Taryn and I have been talking, Taryn is one of the other live feeders. He gave him a compliment, gave Tim a compliment, said he's been playing great. He has the game by the throat. And right when he said that on Twitter, it was like, knock wood or something, because Tim just totally went off the rails. I don't know what he was doing. He got bored. That's what I said on Twitter, was that he got bored. He just decided to, for some reason, after trying to get Jared and Kelsey nominated last night, decided to try to save them today. And that would, I heard people on Twitter saying it was great, that's brilliant. He can save them from being nominated and they'll feel indebted to him. But that's not what he was doing, and that's not what happened, because by doing that he only stuck his neck out some. Now the brothers realize that Tim is basically on, or at least they think he's on Jared's side. Jared and the brothers then started talking, and each realized that Tim has equally been telling each one of them, I want you to win the game. No, I want you to win the game. So now Tim is on people's radars where he wasn't otherwise. So it's just a mess. I mean, I can't even, in the time I have, I can't even tell you guys how many times it changed from last night to today. Phil is the epitome of indecisiveness. And Nick, and they said it's Phil and Nick are HOH. No, bitches. Phil is HOH. Nick is trying to talk some sense into him. He is trying to tell him, look, I don't trust Jared. I think at one point he was trying to get him to nominate Jared anyway, and Phil's not listening at this point. Phil said this to Jared as a man. He said, I would be honored to go to the end with you. And the thing is, I actually believe that. But the thing that Phil's not seeing is that Jared does not believe that. No. Jared wants them out. I mean, he's lying to their faces. He's telling them, I would go to the end with you guys. We're the people at the top of the totem pole. We shouldn't be trying to knock each other off, or the people at the bottom will just get to the end. But that's not true. If Jared or Kelsey gets HOH next week, they're going to nominate the brothers, and I think they'll go home.
Oh, man. Okay. A lot to unpack there, Sarah. Wow. Brent, thank you. I appreciate that. We had a lot to catch up on. I don't know where we want to start with this. Sarah, thoughts on the decision then by the PAX Bros then to go in this direction rather than going after Jared and Kelsey?
I mean, the one thing I did see on Twitter was, the back and forth, and everyone was like, holy ping, pong, bing, 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 who's going up? I mean, this is a classic case of something that happens early on in the game that comes and bites you in the ass, honestly. Like, Maddie did not treat Nick very nicely. And so when you're kind of trying to decide at this point in the game, there's a lot of couples, there's a lot of duos in there. Who do you go after? Who knows how much that played into this? I don't know that Maddie and Ramsey are quite as... I mean, I guess, Maddie is winning things. So I can see why it would be a tough decision to decide between Maddie and Ramsey and Kelsey and Jared. The only thing is I think Maddie is a little higher up in the hierarchy of players when it comes to Maddie and Ramsey. And then you've got Kelsey and Jared, who are both equally, in my opinion, capable of winning and talking their way through things. So I think the Jared Kelsey would have been a better call, but I can see why it was a tough one this week.
Here's the thing, Jordan. I agree with Mumsy. I can see why they did it, but what they're not seeing is that Maddie and Ramsey were probably the two only people, maybe besides Nikki, who would not have nominated the brothers.
Yeah.
That is their blind spot. The brothers do not see how much other people in the house want to nominate them and get them out of the house.
Right.
They think they're loved by everybody, and this twist only feeds that ego, that they're playing this game perfectly, that they cannot be stopped, that they're going to get to the end, and they literally believe, and I say this to you truthfully, they believe that they can win against anybody at the end, okay? Anybody. So it's amazing to me that they needed this HOH more than anybody. They needed it. They got it. And now they're screwing it up by nominating probably the only two people in the House who have any power who would not have nominated them next week if they get HOH. It's just, it boggles my mind.
Okay, Brent, if we could do percent chance, what are the odds? What are the odds that the brothers are out the door next week?
I would probably say, I'd say 70%. At least 70%.
Oh, wow.
I really feel strongly that they'll be evicted next week. If not for this, then a little bit for the jealousy of being, Canada's favorite players or something. I think they're starting to see, and plus they have their hands in a lot of different pots. And I can't even convey to you guys the amount of pissed offness that the rest of the house guests feel after being ping-ponged for the whole day with Phil and his, like hamster in a spinning wheel. HOH. It wasn't pretty to see. It was the epitome of how not to do HOH. It was just everybody seemed like we don't know what's going to happen, and he didn't nominate Kelsey and Jared, Kelsey and Jared, but he might as well have, because he told them, I'm going to nominate you, and then totally backtracked from that. So,
Sarah, do you think that maybe this is because Phil
another Paul Jackson reference, or is that what's coming?
No. I've used up my one for this podcast. I was gonna say, do you think that maybe this is because Phil is just so young? Like, what is this, a confidence? Like, is he really insecure, and is he trying to cover it up by being all over the top? Like, this is just so strange that he's really acting like this. I just don't get it.
I do think Phil has a little bit of a spoiled kid's persona, a little bit. Like, he seems like he thinks he's the favorite child. He thinks he's the better brother. And people like that tend to actually be pretty insecure deep down inside. And so I think when you're in a position of power, he's just going to overthink the shit out of everything. And instead of having the know-how to just calmly talk it through with the people that you're closest with, he was running around, instead of just giving it a minute, he was like, oh, decision, done, gone, blah, blah, blah. And then, oh, wait a minute, maybe that's not a great decision. Okay, no, never mind, he's got to go fix it right away. Instead of just sitting, like, Big Brother didn't say you need to nominate this second. You know what I mean? Like, he totally could have taken a day and just said, guys, I'm going to think on this for 24 hours, or however long he wanted to give them. But, yeah, he just, he overthunk it, and I think he's got himself in hot water because of it.
I want to ask the both of you, because I haven't been in the Big Brother house, and I'm certainly not going to be in Big Brother Canada's house. So if somebody comes to you and says, I'm likely going to nominate you, and then they switch their mind and they say, I can see where you're coming from. I'm not going to nominate you after all. Don't you remember that? I mean, don't you not trust this person anymore?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Sarah, I imagine you agree.
I mean, I would agree. I don't have that experience. I have the experience of being told you're not going to be nominated, then getting nominated, and then going home. So I don't have the experience of having to live after being nominated. But I would guess that likely that would stick in your mind and that you would, not trust that person down the line.
JP, I just want to tell you really quickly that earlier today, someone tweeted this to me, that the brothers said, I must have missed this, I must have been on another camera, the brothers said, if we're on the block against Nikki, we'll stay. They actually believe this. They are so, their egos are just blown to pieces at this point. They think they're God. I really do think they think they're God in the Big Brother house.
That's insane, dude. Yeah, I mean, to further back up your point, Brent, it's completely asinine to go up to someone and say, hey, thought about it, and yeah, we're going to nominate you, and then go back and say, oh, yeah, just kidding. I know there was an instance in the house last season on the feeds where Sarah Hanlon was concerned that Zach was going to put her on the block, and I said, no, Zach is not going to put you on the block. You're fine. She's like, no, I know he is. I've just got a feeling he is, whatever. And just because she had that feeling of insecurity that Zach was going to go put her up, she wanted to flip on him just from that. So as soon as you say to someone, hey, I'm probably going to put you on the block, for the most part, I think people are going to be maybe not going to completely flip on you, but they're definitely going to be a lot more uneasy about you. I mean, that's just human nature, right? I mean, if you're going to think about it once, then what's going to change you from thinking about it again? You're showing that that person is expendable to you when you say, hey, I'm going to put you up on the block, and not as a pawn, but just as like, hey, I'm putting you up. One of you two is going to go home. It's just I will say know what the Pax Bros are thinking.
I will say really quickly, just so you guys understand what's happening. Kelsey went and talked to the brothers, and the brothers basically said, we're going to nominate you. And Jared, in so many words, obviously it didn't happen like that. It was like an hour-long conversation. So then Kelsey goes back to talk to Jared, and if not for Kelsey, I really do think they would have been nominated. But Kelsey, because Jared said, I don't even want to talk to them. I'm like, where is the good player that I've seen? I mean, say what you want about Jared, but he has been a good player. He's insulated himself fairly well for the past, at least the first half of the game. He said, he doesn't even want to talk to the brothers. He's pissed off about this. I don't even think he really would have went to talk to them. Then she got him to talk, and she got Tim to go with him and said, Tim, you need to go with Jared. Jared can't talk to the brothers. He needs you to go with him. The brothers will listen to you, and that's where this whole thing went downhill. So, again, props to Kelsey. Looks like she saved her man and herself. I'll give her that. But it wasn't pretty.
It's crazy. Kelsey just keeps on surviving, and if the brothers really are imploding, so I mean, to me that says that she's gonna just keep moving along in this game, and it's crazy. She just seems to have 9 lives. It's very interesting. Okay, quickly, let's just take a few questions before we get out of here, guys. So this one comes from Soren Crane, and Soren Crane says, with the people in the house, what is the best possible final 2 pairing? What is the worst possible final 2 pairing? Okay, Sarah, I'll throw this to you. As a fan, best possible final 2 pairing.
Fan best possible would be Cass and probably Cass and Tim would probably be the most entertaining final 2, or people would be the happiest. Worst possible final 2, Maddie and Kelsey.
Okay. Brent.
For me personally.
Yes, these are Sarah's picks personally. Brent, what do you think? Are you on the same page as Sarah?
Anything with Kelsey in the final 2 is bad. Anything with Cass or Tim in the final 2 is good. So I basically co-sign what she said.
Okay. I would say, personally, I think Kelsey, I love Nikki, but I don't want to see Kelsey and Nikki, because then I think Kelsey could win, and I don't really want Kelsey to win. Is that bad for me to say? I don't know. Just based on what I've seen so far, who knows? Maybe things can turn around. This game has really changed up a lot, but as of right now, yeah, I don't know if I'd be down for that final 2 either. Okay, here's another one. This one is from Nikki on YouTube. She says, on Twitter, I've seen Cass compared to many past BB house guests. Which house guest or mix of house guests do you think she is most like? This is a really good question. Sarah, do you have any names that come to mind?
She definitely, her spasticness reminds me of Sabrina, but she's somehow been able to use that in her favor. I think she's playing the game Sabrina thought she was playing. And so I would say then she's a combination of Sabrina, and then who did a really good job socially?
not Sabrina. Sabrina did a great job socially, didn't she?
No, she didn't. Everybody hated her. Like, okay, I get it. You were being funny. Ha ha.
Sarah, this is why you're here, to laugh at my jokes.
So I think Cass is a combination of Sabrina and then a better house guest. You choose whoever you think.
I think she reminds me a little bit of Amanda. She just seems to have her hands in a lot of different pots. Obviously, she's a lot more likable to us than Amanda, but Amanda was likable for a while.
Yeah.
Only when she got to be really mean there at the end, I felt like people really turned on her. But I loved Amanda for the most part in Big Brother 15.
Agree.
Yeah, I like the Amanda comparison, Brent. I think you mentioned Brittany Haynes in the diary room. She's kind of got that sass to her, which is great, which I really enjoy a lot. In terms of, I don't know who else I can think of. I mean, yeah, it's hard.
She likes the camera. She has a beautiful face.
Yes.
She knows how to give us what we want. I really feel like more than any other house guest, she knows what she's there for in the diary room. She knows the part she's playing,
She's good. She's playing a good all-around game. Playing well for doing well in the DR, doing well at the social game, the strategic game. I'm a big Cass fan. I think that's my proudest call of this season so far. Brent was saying that she was going to make the jury. Okay, here we go. Last one. This one is from Edward Morris. He says, "Why is it every time somebody gets in trouble, it's the person kissing Nick?" Yeah, right. I mean. Poor Nick, every time. I mean, the guy tries to kiss people and then just doesn't work out for him. I mean, we had Maddie. Well, Nikki, I guess, yeah, she was putting her hands down his pants, so there was that. And then Kelsey. Nick is really on a roll, isn't he, Sarah? He's kissing all these girls.
He is. He's getting all the action this one. What's going on?
I don't know. He's I was going to say he's a modern-day someone, but I'm not going to say what it is. So, yeah, very, very interesting. Brent, have there been any kisses that Nick has had on the feeds that we haven't seen on the show, or just those three?
No. I mean, he's had his fun with Maddie. Are you talking about the people or the actual kisses? Like,
actual kisses, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, he's definitely had some fun, but I mean, he's not kissed anybody that I've seen other than that. Okay. He's just sort of I think anybody would be threatened by Nick. I mean, he's very mellow and just sort of beautiful. I think he is anyway. I know some other people think Phil is the better looking brother, but I think Nick clearly is. And so, I don't know. I think that's why they're probably threatened by him and are they don't want to see any of their girls with him.
All right. Well, with that, guys, we're going to wrap it up for this edition of Rob Has a Podcast. Thank you to everybody for joining us. Don't forget to tune in to the Happy Hour this Sunday. I'll be talking to Johnny Colatrulio from Big Brother Canada 3. So don't forget to check that out. Should be really fun. Brent, I think you're there, right? You're there on Sunday with us, I believe.
Oh, am I? Okay, good. I'm glad you told me. I don't want to miss.
Yeah, I think you're. Yeah.
Another podcast.
Yeah, I think Brent's here on Sunday. I might want to switch that around because I don't know if I can handle the sass of Brent and Johnny on the same podcast. But
I don't know. Yeah, you might want to put the robot on.
Yeah, maybe that's one for Taryn. I feel like Taryn
good
and
job
Johnny
on getting that one.
Yeah, well done. It'd be a good balance with those two. We need a hashtag, guys. So for those of you in the chat, if you guys could give us some ideas for the hashtag for this episode, that would be great as well. Don't forget to subscribe to Rob Has a Podcast so you don't miss an episode of Rob's Big Brother Canada 4 coverage. Go to robhaswebsite.com/iTunes for all of that. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast there. Rob's got a really busy schedule this week. If you're a Survivor fan, he's got the recap podcast with Richard Hatch, which I believe he is recording today, and he's also got the voicemails with Eric Stein coming up this weekend. So don't forget to check that out. Survivor Know-It-Alls was live this week. That's why my voice is so gone, because I was there in attendance. So if you haven't seen the video of that, definitely check it out. It was a really, really fun night. Highly recommend.
Yes,
that.
Check it out. Ethan Zahn, winner of Survivor Africa, frickin' Survivor Royalty, was in the house and came up on stage to talk with everybody. That was great.
No, it really was. I loved Ethan. He's awesome. I wish he could have stuck around more because that was a lot of fun. Okay, looking at the hashtags. There's not really a lot to choose from for this one. We have hashtag Brent is Bay. I kind of like that one, Brent. I think that one kinda works.
Give it to, come on, it's Mumsy is Bay. Please, listen, last time people complained people complained that I ranted too long and that you didn't get enough Netta. So you need to do something about Sarah for this one. Come on, seriously. I don't want to hear it from these people anymore.
Okay, so maybe hashtag hot guy on the couch in reference to
Yes!
the man behind Sarah. That's Jay Miller hanging out in the background of this podcast on the YouTube video. If you haven't checked it out.
Amazing.
Go to robbinswebsite.com/YouTube if you haven't seen that already. Okay, guys. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of RHAP. Thank you so much for joining us. I'll be back on Sunday. Rob will be back next Friday with another guest. Should be a lot of fun talking about Week 7 of Big Brother Canada 4. Okay. Thank you guys so much for joining us. For Brent Walkman and Sarah Miller, I'm Jordan Parhar. Hashtag hot guy on the couch. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Peace out.